Hey y'all, welcome to the Suburban Stitcher podcast. My name is Diane and today is May 30th, 2019. I am taping this from a gorgeously sunny day in Richmond, Texas. So I'm in a suburb of Houston. We are experiencing our very typical high 80s, almost 90s, very humid, hot summer weather here. And I am already sad about it. It's already just so hot. It's supposed to rain in a little bit, so I'm really hoping that it does. We have been working for, and I say we, there's no we about it. I have done this whole project. I have worked very hard in my front yard flower bed over the last week, getting old plants pulled up, tilling and remulching and putting in soil conditioner and planting new plants. And then today I finally got the mulch on and that bed is totally finished. And I'm so proud of it. And then I think my husband was either feeling guilty or something, I'm not really sure, but he decided to get the shovel out and dig up the plants that I have wanted to dig up for at least 4 or 5 years. And so those are now dug up, and we have on the other side of our front yard a big, huge empty flower bed that's actually the one right outside of my window here. And I think we're gonna wait a week or two to kind of let those roots kind of start to dry up and die out a little bit before we really get in there and start tilling that bed and doing the work that needs to be done on that side. So anyway, gosh, I didn't really plan to give you a gardening update, but there you go. But I will say it has been so long since I have had a project that was not crafting, not sewing, not yarn dyeing or knitting or anything like that, that has really just given me that much personal pride, I guess, because I did it from start to finish. I picked out the plants, I did all the digging, all the hard work, and I'm really, really proud of myself. And I think it looks beautiful. So, and now I'm like addicted to going to the nursery and buying plants. They're sort of popping up everywhere, all over my front porch. And I keep dreaming about new beds that I want to create. So it's kind of created a monster. Anyway, let's talk about knitting, shall we? So first, I'm going to pop in the little segment that I taped earlier about announcements and prizes right here. Okay, so while I am thinking about it, I want to talk about the knit-alongs and things that we have going on in the Ravelry group. Make sure that you are a member of the Suburban Stitcher podcast Ravelry group on Ravelry. There are a bunch of threads, and a couple of them I'm going to highlight right now. I never do this, and I'm going to pull this over here so that I don't miss the information that I want to give you. Let's see, so in this group right now, there is a post called Shameless Self-Promotion, and it is a great thread that is full of designers and shops and makers of all kinds promoting their new items with shop updates or whatever they have going on. So please make sure that you check out that. A lot of them give coupon codes in there. So if you're looking for a new shop to discover with a discount usually, then definitely make sure you're following that thread. And right now I do want to announce a winner for the Get Suburban Cal, which is our ongoing year-long knit-along. Oh my gosh, I haven't looked at this thread in so long, and there are some really amazing new finished objects, like some yarn that I have not seen in a while, and that's super fun. Okay, so I am going to, right now we have 95 posts in this thread. Random.org. Let's do post 2 through 95. Oh my gosh, the result is number 95. That's amazing. So let's go back over to that post. Post number 95. The winner for this week is Kathleen55. And that is Kathleen from, I cannot say the name of the city, New York. So Kathleen, thank you so much. You are working on a party on your needles. I think you're using lanyap and one other color, and it looks amazing. So good. Thank you so much for sharing that post, and you are going to win. Let me get over to my place that I have the prizes stored. You are going to win a copy of Illustrator Socks, which is a pattern by Orla. Oh my gosh, I'm not gonna be able to say that either. It's Andrea, but her Ravelry name is Orla Verstricht. Andrea Delhi on Ravelry. And the Illustrator Socks is a gorgeous sock pattern. Looks like it has kind of a meandering stitch that almost makes it look like a cable. It's so beautiful, and it uses one skein of sock weight yarn. So Kathleen, thank you so much. I apologize for, I don't normally like to do this live while I'm looking while I'm talking, because it's looking down and looking up, but I just want to make sure that I get that announced this week. And I think I interrupted my own self when I was describing the hashtag Get Suburban Cal. That is a Cal that is ongoing year long, or for however long we decide to keep it going, where we, if you chat away in a chatter thread on Ravelry, in the Ravelry group, and weekly or bi-weekly or whenever I remember to pull prizes from that thread, then you get a pattern, and the pattern is always a donated pattern from a featured designer, someone who has released something relatively recently and has decided to donate a copy of that pattern as a giveaway for the podcast. So I want to thank Andrea for donating a copy of the Illustrator Socks, and I want to thank Kathleen for knitting a beautiful party on your needles with, for sure it looks like lanyap. So thank you all for participating, and let's get to the knitting. And now we will get to finished objects. I have one finished object this week. You never even saw it as a work in progress, because I knit this in about 5 days, maybe 6 days, which is super fast and super great. I participated in Andrea Mowry's Memorial Day weekend Shiftalong Hat KAL, and she released a pattern called the Shiftalong Hat. I believe that's what this is called, but it's using her stitch pattern that she has used in a lot of her shift style mosaic knitting patterns. I completed the night shift big shawl, and this is that same stitch pattern but in hat form. So I used 2 skeins from Stash. One was brand new Stash, and one had been marinating for a little while. But I used 2 skeins of Spin Cycle dyed in the wool. The teal background color is called Nostalgia, and it does not have as much of a color shift. It's a little bit lighter there. This background here gets a little darker, but it's relatively consistent throughout. And the top color, the contrast color, I guess, that's the purple, is called Neveruary. I think that's how you say it. And it was a purple and pink skein, but I just literally missed getting into the pink by just a little bit. So I mostly used this purple, but there was a ton of pink that was about to get in there. So there's still about 65% of this skein left, and I will be looking for the perfect little hat or project or something to make with that. I think it would be super fun to maybe make another one of these. I have not blocked this yet, but provided that it fits and that I like how it looks and everything, I would be very tempted to knit another one with this one as the background, and then pick I could use the blue as the foreground color and just totally reverse it. I think I have enough yardage to do that. But anyway, so this is the Shiftalong Hat. Super fun, super easy knit along, and yeah, I enjoyed knitting it. It was great travel knitting with going back and forth to family events and knitting in front of the TV while watching baseball and all of that good stuff. So that is the knit along hat that I finished. That's my only finished object. But it does count for Stash Dash 2019, which is a knit along hosted by the Knit Girls, and it's the annual summertime kind of 3-month long knit along where any yardage that you finish the project during that time period, no matter when you started it, if you cast it off and finish it in that time period, then the entire yardage counts, and it's just sort of a personal challenge. I never enter for prizes. It's more just a personal challenge / goal to see how much I can finish within that time period. So it's all for fun. There's way more information in their podcast group, and you should totally go check it out. So that is finished. I worked on a few things. I continue to work, I did not bring them here, but I continue to work on what I'm calling my purse socks. They are my Apple Picking by Mustache yarn, and I think that I'm getting very close to the ribbing on the first sock tube. So that one is getting close to kind of a first little finishing checkpoint, almost a hoe, if you will. I usually wait until both sock tubes are done, and then I'll put in the afterthought heels at the very end. And I haven't decided if I'm going to use the yarn from the skein or if I'm going to use a contrast heel. I feel like I might use, I don't know. It just depends on how much I have left, I guess, when I get to that point. So I attended and vended at the Wool Slayers camp retreat. And this was my second year. Last year was the first year of the event, and there were maybe 10 or 11 attendees, and this year there were about 25, so it definitely grew and was so much fun. I brought along a few things to knit on, and the thing that I knit on for about half of the time, and I'm so glad I brought it because it was perfect, just mindless garter stitch knitting, and it was the perfect retreat knitting. I brought my What the Fade. So this is kind of gone out of my whips for years now at this point, but it's getting a lot closer. I did quite a bit of knitting on this. So last time you saw it, I think that I was maybe about there. And I knit maybe almost 10 rows. So, which I know that doesn't seem like a lot, maybe only 8 rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. About 8 rows, 8, 9 rows maybe. No, I bet it was 10. Anyway, doesn't matter. Let's say 9 rows. But there's like 450 stitches on each row now. So it's a lot of knitting. That's like 4,500. Yes, 4,500 stitches over the course of like 2 days. So it was really great, like I said, to get to work on that. I finished all of the knitting with the last of the light yellow colors, and I'm fading in the 5th of 6 colors now. So that's also super exciting because it's just getting closer and closer to the end. I'm using all hedgehog fibers yarn. let's see if I can remember any of these colors. Oracle, Little Women. This is a floral something that I can never remember. Do I have these in here? I think I always look for them. I have Little Women, Oracle, Little Women, and then a color that I can't remember. And then I have Banana Legs, is this mostly yellow, Bee's Knees, and Crybaby, I believe. I think. But I could be wrong. I'm also pretty sure it's on my Ravelry page. This thing is enormous. It's just going to be a huge yellow to black gradient bumblebee huge blanket shawl. So that is good. This is my second to oldest whip. My oldest whip other than scrap blankets is a lace shawl, lace and beads, that I haven't worked on in quite some time, but it's because a lace and bead shawl is not portable, and I just have to be in the right mindset for that one. So this one is the oldest one that is like a not lace and beads. Yeah, so that's my What the Fade. Okay, so let's see what else I worked on. I worked quite a bit, I think. It's been it's been since before I started that Shiftalong hat since I really worked on this. But this is in my fringe bag that I ordered from Fancy Tiger in Denver. This is my Sereno Symphony, and I am, oh my gosh, needles are poking through this everywhere. It's kind of a crazy mess. All right, so this is Sereno Symphony by Stephen West, and I am using Hedgehog Fibers Skinny Singles in Taffy, is this pink main, quote unquote main color. And then I am using 3 colors of Ching Fibers Melted Baby Surrey in Champagne, which is that light color. This blue is called Nassau. And then the color that I'm adding in is called Honeycomb. And I've just done a few rows of that one. I have not even gotten to where you can see the stitch motif yet. But like I said, I cast on that hat, and this got put to the side for just a little bit. A lot of the reason that I haven't been traveling with this project now is because the Sereno or the Surrey alpaca is extremely sticky to work with in humidity. And a lot of my knitting is outside these days. So that has meant that I have wanted to use wool is sticky enough, but fluffy alpaca or mohair is 20 times worse. So I've been choosing to bring other projects such as my hat or this next project, which we've seen a bunch this year, but I've kind of picked up steam on it again, at least the last day or two. And this is my plumpy shawl. So here I am almost done with section 5. Yes, section 5. So here is the starting point. The colors that I'm using are, this color number 1 is Gossip, right? Why can I not remember yarn? I used to just have a brain that knew these things. Let's see. Gossip, yes. Okay. So Hedgehog Fibers DK in Gossip. The second color is Rose Hip, and it's kind of that pink with speckles. And then the third color that I'm working on right now is Sorbet. I thought there was going to be a lot more peach in this Sorbet, and there's tons of neon yellow and green. Now, I don't hate it, but I just was thinking it would be more peachy. But I think overall it looks fine when you're looking at it as the whole. The contrast color that's the background in the brioche, as well as the striping, like in this section, that color is called Accidentally in Love by Wool and Boone. This is that color. It's kind of a Shrekky yellowy green with speckles. This is Gossip, which is just, this is definitely summer Dianne. I love it so much. Gossip, Rose Hip, this is gorgeous. And the color that I'm using now is Sorbet. And you can see there's just lots of green and blue and yellow in that one. But it makes a gradient of sorts. At least a saturation gradient, if nothing else. So that is what's going on here. So there are 8 sections in this shawl. I am like 2 garter ridges away, so 4 rows away from being done with section 5. Yeah, so we have section 1, section 2, section 3, 4, then I'm in 5, and it has 8 total. I am already doing section 5 that I'm working on is where the shape starts to change. We're no longer increasing stitches, we're just shifting along this center spine. And yep, I'm loving it. I'm really, really loving it. Even though this is taking me quite, I mean, it's not, I haven't knit it as fast as other things that I have knit recently, but I love it every single time I pick it up. Now, I don't know if that's because, excuse me, I don't know if that's because the yarn is like so incredibly fun, or if it is some other reason, but it's really fun. I just can't wait. I can't wait to have this done and blocked to see how big and squishy it's going to be. So that is pretty much what I've been working on. As far as Hello Lovelies, I have quite a few things that I'd like to talk about. One thing really before we get to Hello Lovelies is I want to talk about a pattern that I'm going to be casting on next. If you've been watching, I've finished 4 projects. One of them I started and finished, but I have cast off 4 things in the last like 3 weeks. 2 of them were sweaters, 1 big shawl, and then a hat. So I'm feeling really good about where my whips stand, and I'm also still pretty excited about staying relatively monogamous with my knitting. You know, just kind of with 2 or 3 projects that I sort of put my focus into. That feels really great. So one thing, maybe after I finish another project or 2, is I'm going to be starting out of some of my hand-dyed yarn. I'm going to be starting this gorgeous shawl, and it's almost like a scarf, kind of a wrap scarf shawl thing. It's called Golden Willow by Knit Graffiti, and it's brioche with a lot of like textured brioche, not just, there's all sorts of brioche stitches. Honeycomb brioche, lacy brioche, lots of increases and decreases, and I'm really, really excited about, I'm just so excited about it. So I am using 3 colors of Suburban Stitcher Silky Singles, which is my 70% superwash merino, 30% silk, single ply yarn base. I am using 3 colors. This one is Hedwig. So it's just a very pale color with some brown speckles. Very subtle. The second color that I'm using is a new one called Lonely. And it is a beautiful, these got a little bit fuzzy running around in this bag. kind of a very, very pale khaki taupe mossy green. I don't even know that the color can show it accurately. So you can see there is a difference between the two. This is definitely more light undyed, and this has that kind of khaki mossy taupey color. There are a few speckles in here, but they are very few and far between. And then the third color, I have not wound it up yet, but it's on the same base. And this is my Neptune colorway, which is relatively new. This yarn is just so drapey. So it is similar to Leslie's original color scheme for this project, which I just loved. Especially since this is a smaller, kind of thinner wrap. I thought that I wanted these colors that are a little lighter, a little more summery. Like it would be a perfect summer wrap for anywhere, but especially here. So I'm very excited to start that. That is up and coming in my knitting. I thought that I was going to cast that on at the Wool Slayers retreat, but I ended up being really excited about my works in progress, and so I got that done instead. Okay, let's see. I did pick up a few things. This was a prize that I won. Every single person got a door prize at this retreat, and you got to pick from this amazing table. They had way more prizes than people, and so you had quite a few choices. And this just screamed to me. Who doesn't love an exclusive color, right? We all do. This, I mean, Mad Tosh, exclusive color, sparkles. I was done. So this, oh my gosh, look at that. It's a single ply. It's Tosh Merino Light plus glitter. So it's 90% merino, 8% acrylic, 2% stellina. And it is so sparkly. I don't know if there's any way. I know you can see a little bit of glitter there, but it's like 20 times glitterier than it's showing. The color is called, well, I don't know what the color's called, but I know it's exclusive for a yarn store in Dallas. I feel like West 7th Wool, but I don't know the color. It sure doesn't say. But this was a kit that came with a pattern called I Am Dragon, and it's a cowl that has those dragon scales, and it also came with the beads to make it, which are these like holographic oil slick looking. So those two, I think those would be gorgeous together. And the pattern, so that was really fun to pick out. And I honestly might make that exact shawl because I think it would be gorgeous in that. I also purchased 2 skeins of yarn from Savvy Skeins, who was one of the other hand dyers that was at the retreat in the marketplace. 2 skeins of her Harvest Moon colorway. I just fell in love with these dark tonal fall colors. This is on her Sensible sock base, which is 80% superwash merino, 20% nylon. I figured this could be a big shawl or like the main part of a cropped sweater, something like that. I just loved this color so much. So that's that. And then I got a couple of sweater quantities of yarn that you'll be surprised about. So let me grab those. So one of the things that everyone was really excited about were that there were 2 yarn stores pretty close to where we went to this retreat. And one is Ply in Wimberley, Texas, and I got some yarn for a top there, for a crocheted top. I might show that another show. But another yarn store that was about 20 minutes away is called the Sated Sheep. I actually did a trunk show 4 years ago when I was only doing bags. During the Hill Country Yarn Crawl, I did a trunk show there. And they sell Coast by Holstgarn, which is a 55% lamb's wool, 45% cotton blend. And it comes in a million different colors. It's 383 yards for 50 grams. So it's definitely a light fingering, but it plumps up a lot. And each of these balls was $6.60. So $6.60 times 4. It's like $26 about. And I am going to be making the Marimietto top, or Marimetto. I'm not exactly certain how that top is pronounced, but it's by Caitlin Hunter. And it's a summer top that's short sleeve with a little bit of lace. And I just thought that would be super cute. I have 2 skeins of mushroom, or 2 balls of mushroom. I have rosewood, which is kind of a light rosy coral color. And then I have one of Bourgogne. My maiden name is Bourgeois, and I cannot say this word. Bourgogne, doesn't matter. Anyway, this is the color. I just think it looks really pretty with that. So if you're familiar with the top, the main color will obviously be this mushroom. I have 2 of those. And then the little lace will be out of this. And each lace section sort of has like a border on either side of it, out of a darker or just an accent color. And that will be this kind of burgundy color. So that is my color palette. I'm very excited about that. It's like Dianne Summery Neutral. And then the other sweater thing that I got, I'm very excited about. I'm just going to show you a few skeins. I bought 9 or 10 of these, whatever was the right number. But I bought a quantity to make the... Oh, this is Kestrel by Quince & Company. Yeah, Quince & Company Kestrel, which is a 100% linen chainette, chain ply, chainette yarn, kind of a tape almost. And I'm going to make the Deshane top that was very popular a couple of years ago, and I just think that a linen top could not be more perfect for where I live and for my climate. So I'm very excited about that. I got a few other things here and there. I'll show those off maybe when I start working with them or another time. But those were the things that I definitely wanted to show because they were from vendors or friends or from my fun Wool Slayers retreat. Events that are coming up in the shop and where I will be traveling. Next up, I will be at Zombie Knitpocalypse in Rochester, Minnesota. I am attending the full retreat, but their marketplace is also open to the public. It is Saturday, Saturday, June 22nd in Rochester, Minnesota at the Doubletree Mayo on Broadway, believe, in the Mayo Clinic area, the Doubletree. and it is open from 10 to 12 for retreat attendees, and then it's open from 1 to 3 for the public. So if you are anywhere near Rochester or in the Twin Cities and you want to head down for the day and just come shop and say hello, I really encourage you to do that. It's such a great marketplace. It is such a fun city. I fall more in love with the city of Rochester every time I go. I think it's amazing. So definitely come see me there. And then after that, the next big event that I will be at is the SSK Super Summer Knit Together Marketplace in Nashville, Tennessee at the Scarrett Bennett Retreat Center. I will be vending only. I am not attending the retreat, but Josh is driving with me and he will be setting up with me and helping me work that day. So please, please, please be so kind to Mr. Stitcher. This is his first time out in the wild with the knitters. I think he's a little scared. So that's going to be a lot of fun. And we get a couple of days with just adults and no kids. So even though we're working really hard that weekend, that's going to be a lot of fun. So those are the next 2 events that are fun and exciting that are coming up, and I hope that I will see you at those. Thanks again so much for watching, and I will see you soon. Bye.